Welcome to Mrs. G's 9th to 12th grade project-based physical education class. Thank you for attending this flipped classroom lecture. In preparation for these next 2 exciting weeks, I would like to introduce your project, give some examples of what the project will need to include, and start you in the right direction towards gathering the necessary information you'll need for success in this project. Myself and 3 other of your classroom teachers will be working with you on understanding the significance of performance enhancement drugs, or better known as PEDs. This includes not just the physical effects, but also other ethical issues related to their use. Now make sure and pay attention to this video because there will be a short quiz that you'll need to take on the Edmodo page, and I'll go into detail about that later. And what we're working towards is going to be to answer an essential question, which is, given what we know about PED abuse and the negative effects on the body, should PEDs be made illegal or simply banned by sport governing bodies? Does the government even have an interest or responsibility in the ban of PED use in sports? Your mission is going to be to search the web and find at least one non-popular sport or popular sport outside of the US which you think you could adapt to play at your school. I'd prefer that you find the sport that you are interested in from an outside country, but if you find an atypical sport from the US, that's fine as well. What you're looking at now, down here at the bottom, are some sports that are played around the world. Keeping in mind that the sport that you're going to need to pick is going to need to be adaptable for the school environment. So, unless you have some trampolines, the far left corner one might not be appropriate, but you'll have time to brainstorm that. And you're watching this video basically because you received a link to your class Edmodo. You found this video under the assignments, and you will find the PowerPoint there as well. You can use suggested resources like on the Edmodo under notes to do your research, but you can look through YouTube as well. Take some time to see how they will be assessed by looking under how you will be assessed by looking under the notes and finding both the teacher and the peer rubric. So you can see here's a screenshot of the Edmodo page. So you've already been able to go under the assignment section, and that's where you found this flipped classroom video. There's also a version of this PowerPoint there that you can look at. And if you look on the left where that blue circle is, you'll find the teacher rubric, a peer rubric, as well as resource links. So these rubrics are how you're going to be assessed during your presentation of this project, and also how your peers are going to review you. So definitely take the time to do that. And then at the end of what you do tonight, or after watching this video, link onto that section where it says quiz, and then you'll be able to take a short quiz with questions about this video. Okay, so recap of what you're going to need to do after you're done watching this video before your next class is you're going to need to take the quiz under the quiz tab, look at the resources under the notes tab, and use them to find a sport that you might like to talk more in depth about, and then look over the rubric so you know what to expect, and then pick a sport to research and share. And the 2-week timeline, here it is. So day 1, you're going to have some time to review the project, ask me any questions that you need. I'm going to assign you to your student groups. You're going to have time to share a half-page summary of the sport that you found. Please include things such as where it originated, where it's popular, the equipment that's used, the locations where it's played, and possible ways that you think that the sport could be adapted to the school environment, why you think this would be a fun sport to do. On day 2, you're going to come in and have time with your groups to actually trial and error the sport that you decide on, or maybe more than one, try out which one you think is going to be better. And then you're going to practice using different manipulatives, and the facilities, explore the facilities such as the gym or outside, the volleyball courts, where you're going to be able to use for your presentation. On day 3, this is very essential. You're going to meet with a community partner, which is Speed Incorporated. And Speed Incorporated is a facility where they basically train athletes. And during this time, you will talk to an athletic trainer about the sport that you've chosen, and you're going to use information that you've also learned in your biology class about the implications of using PEDs and also the primary muscle groups that are used in your sport, and you're going to try to brainstorm accommodations, modifications to the sport to create a disadvantage in the sport for at least one of the teams that's playing during the presentation, because you're going to have your teammates also participate. And then on day 4, you're just going to continue practicing, again, making adjustments after you've spoken to the speed athletic trainers. And then on day 5 through 9, each group is going to have the opportunity to present their sport, engage the students in participating in the sport. Half of the class time you're going to spend doing the sport regularly, and then the other half you're going to do the sport using the modifications that you've created. And then on the last day, we're going to do a fishbowl discussion. And this is just a brief summary of what the differences between advantage and disadvantage. So an advantage is a condition or circumstance that puts one in a favorable or superior position. A disadvantage is an unfavorable circumstance or condition that reduces the chance of success or effectiveness. They're reciprocal of each other. So in order to reflect what PEDs or what some athletes may feel when they're competing against people using PEDs as a disadvantage, and you're going to try to reflect this through making modifications. And these are just some suggestions of how you can do that. You can either modify the material that's being used or the equipment for one of the teams that's playing, make the location unfavorable for one of the teams by person's characteristics, either by height, gender, experience, limiting limbs that can be used for one of the teams, restricting movement in some way, increasing difficulty for one team, such as adding weights to one of them. So again, this is how we're going to work towards a presentation. We're going to practice our sport. You're going to present it and engage the students, and this is when you're going to be assessed. And then you're going to reflect on the things that you've learned, keeping in mind the things that you have talked about in other classrooms, in biology, in government, about the implications of PEDs. And this, if you have no experience with a fishbowl discussion, what it is you have the participants in the middle that are discussing, and the observers on the outside are taking notes, and then I'll be the facilitator. And then you'll switch areas and you'll continue with the discussion. And your notes you're going to use towards your other class projects, which is your papers, reflecting on that. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching Mrs. G's Flipped Classroom. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And again, you'll find these resources on the Edmodo page. Thank you.